Spinning records, got the lights down low. Souldisco's where the groovy people go. Hit play, let the music flow. Old school beats with a modern glow.
Hello everybody and a very warm welcome back to the latest episode of Hidden Jewels of Soul and Disco. I do hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. In this week's episode we are featuring the legendary Bobby Patterson.
Ain't going down. You got rape, murder, and suicide. Run as much as you want, but you can't hide. Cause this whole funky world, don't fight off more than you can chew. Make sure you can handle it. That's the woman might be. Just a little of togetherness if you can. Add a cup of loyalty to your fellow man. Put in a dash.
Bobby Patterson was born in March of 1940 in Dallas. From his earliest childhood onward, he was a highly talented musician. He could play the guitar and the drums very early in his life. When he was 10 years old, he formed his first group, the Royal Rockers, with whom he won many talent contests. One of these contests led to a trip to California in 1957, where they recorded a single for Liberty Records. Unfortunately, this track never got released. Bobby went back and visited the Arlington College, where one of his classmates was the son of a record label owner. And this record label owner was called John Abnak. Bobby worked together with John Abnak from 1962 till the closing of Abnak Records in 1969. And he did that in different roles, but he started with writing and singing and releasing music. And he had quite local success. Now, one source states that it was actually Bobby's idea to start a division label with soul music on Abnak Records. Some sources state that the local success Bobby had was that John then intended to do a sub-label. So we don't know that for sure whose idea it was, but the result is the same. And Jetstar Records, which was then a sub-label of Abnak Records, was born. And Bobby did a lot of work on this label and released quite a lot of singles. And some of them were My Thing Is Your Thing, TCB or TYA, If a Man Ever Loved a Woman, just to name a few. His work for Jetstar or Abnak Records included songwriting, producing, and promotion. Like I mentioned earlier, in 1969, Abnak Records closed its door and Bobby went on to yet another label to finally release in 1972 his debut album. And here it is in all of its 70s glory. Bobby Patterson, It's Just a Matter of Time. And I do love this jacket, I tell you for sure. He at least co-wrote and wrote all of the tracks with one exception on this album. And this exception is the song Right On Jody. That's the only song where he was not involved in the recording or at least in the songwriting process. You've heard some snippets of this album in the beginning, and yeah, if you want to have an original copy of this one, at least in VG Plus condition, it's now around $150. So it kind of increased in price. But don't worry, there are reissues out there. During this time at Polar Records, where he released that album, he also produced the likes of Fontella Bass, Chuck Jackson, and the Montclairs, just to name a few. There's one other artist he produced and whom we've already featured on this program and which I can't recommend enough, and this is Tommy Young. Bobby was also absolutely involved in the production of this album. It took till 1996 for Bobby to release his second album, which was called Second Coming. But that's not quite correct. In 1982, a singer named Bobby Story released an album which was called The Storyteller. And Bobby Story is actually a pseudonym for Bobby Patterson. The songs you hear on The Storytellers were actually recorded between 1976 and 1977. So it has kind of a disco stylish feeling to it. And I can tell you it's absolutely down my alley. So if you have an opportunity to check that album out, The Storyteller, there are also reissues out there. It was released on Proud Records, which was Bobby Patterson's own record label. His songs have also been recorded by the likes of Albert King and the Fabulous Thunderbirds, just to name a few. In the 2000 years, he worked for the radio station KKDA-AM. He did that till 2012, where the station owner decided to cut back some employees, which I think is very unfortunate. In 2014, Bobby released another album and it was called I Got More Soul. In 2015, he got a 9-page article in the magazine Living Blues, where he also won a Critics' Choice Award for Most Outstanding Blues Singers of 2015. Up to that point, Bobby is still around, he's still doing music, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. And you will now hear a snippet of Bobby telling some of his stories by himself.
Hi, my name is Bobby Patterson, and I'm so glad to be here at KEXP. I Got More Soul is what I'm doing this year and every year. I've been doing soul music for a long time. I'm one of a kind that shocked them out. I put good music in your behind. Yes, indeed, I got Matt and Zach, who's the co-producer of the new album. And we had fun making the album at All Studios in Austin, Texas. And we got a lot of good stuff on this album. I've written songs for Fontilla Bass, Albert King, Jeff Tweedy with Wilco, and various artists, Fontilla Bass, Little Johnny Taylor, and Roscoe Robinson, and various artists of that nature for years and years. Been in record business for a long time, in all facets of it. I've been a radio DJ and also A&R man for different record companies, promotion man, stuff like this. On this album, we got a song that I personally like. You know, a lot of the songs nowadays are degrading in my eyesight to women and stuff like that. So, you know, soul music, I've always written songs that uplift women and try to put them on the pedestal that they deserve. This is one that's called, written by Zach, called I Know How It Feels.
If you want to have a good overlook of his musical journey, I would highly suggest that you check out some of his compilations albums. Otherwise, please check out The Storyteller and, of course, his debut album, It's Just a Matter of Time. I can highly, highly recommend all the material he was involved with. If you like that episode, I highly suggest that you check out the playlist appearing here, and I'll catch you on the next one.